Hello everyone, welcome back to another informative video. In this video, I'm going to take a closer look or give you a more in-depth understanding of how to send your plant samples to the University of Florida uh, Department of Plant Pathology, right? Or the Plant Diagnostic Center. Now, if you are in Jamaica, please also note that there is Bodle's Research Station, right? And they also conduct their tests and their analysis on plant samples for disease issues. So at least in Jamaica we have that resource. But for anyone who wants to send their plant samples, overseas, or for those countries or Caribbean countries that and any other country that doesn't have um a, a pathology lab to test for plant disease, you can always follow these instructions and utilize University of Florida's testing pathology labs, right? So um so what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically show you the documents what you need to basically complete and send with the package for it to reach the lab. Now there is a very specific protocol and procedure that you have to follow to get the plant samples to the lab. Now I want to also tell you that the samples that I submitted, they basically reach the lab. Because remember, in my last video, I was telling you that I basically wanted to test out the process first before I give you information so that you can also do it yourself. So I'm happy to say that the sample has reached and they basically um, uh, confirm receival, and I'm going to show you all of that and so on. So let us go. So I'm going to first talk to you about the documentations that you will need, right? So as you can see here, this is basically an instruction sheet, right? And this instruction sheet basically tells you what you need to, how you need to submit the sample, right? So this is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, right? So first of all, to get the documentation that you need to send the sample, you'll have to email send a message to this email, right? CLHARMON@ufl.edu. So when you send the message to this email saying that you want to submit an international plant sample, they'll basically send you the documentations, which I'll show you. Now, let me first show you the documentations, right? So, first, this is called the submission form. And as you can see, it's saying plant disease diagnosis form. So, this is where you will put on or add in all your information, right, as it relates to the submitter, um, and basically uh, information regarding the where the plant sample is coming from, how you grow it, and so on. So basically, this form tells everything about the where it is coming from and the plant sample itself and what you are observing. So like here it says describe the problem, include symptom, plant part affected, and so on. So you'll basically explain what you are seeing here. And then of course in terms of payment, right? In terms of payment, this is where now you have options. You can basically add your credit card here, right? And then as they say here, this part of the form will be detached and shredded after card has been run. We do not keep this information on file. So once you give them the information here, they do their testing, take their money, they'll basically shred the paper and discard of any information regarding your card. So that's it for that. Now, as I said, that is the submission form, right? With the information there. Now, of course, what they say here is that each sample um costs $200, right? $200. So when I submitted my sample, I submitted four samples, um basically representing the same thing. So what they had done was they basically called the farmer that I sent the sample on behalf of, and they basically ask if it's one testing for one, if all four samples are basically testing the same thing, and it was confirmed yes. So as I told you in the last video, so it's not four different sample, even though I send four different plant sample, it's four different sample of the same thing. So essentially it would be one sample. So this only costs $200, and not $800, because it's not four different samples. If you basically send four samples and you want to test different tests for different things, right? Then you basically would have to pay $800, right? $200 per sample. Yeah, right. So um and general sample submission guideline, I think this is important for you to know as well. So number one, it says submit generous amounts of plant material representing a range of a symptom. Do not add water or pack sample that is wet. Obviously, because the sample will get rotten, right? Deteriorate and so on. Uh, Keep samples refrigerated after collection until they are submitted. So if you know that you're not going to submit it today, and the here that you're sampling is not very near to you, you can basically collect the sample, store it in the fridge, in not the freezer, the cooler part of the fridge, until you are ready. But before you send it off, you should basically check the sample to ensure that it is still looking well, right? um right here say, right, after collecting good samples, do not ruin them by allowing them to bake in the sun or on the back seat of a car prior to submission. So don't leave the plant sample in the car, because the car develops heat and it will basically desiccate or dry them out, and they don't want that. Do not mix samples in the same submission bag. Moisture from root samples will contribute to the decay of foliage samples if they are mixed together. Right. So what they are saying there is one plant can affect the other in terms of moisture. So um number 5, please. Uh right, number 5, plant disease identification procedures. Do not utilize soil or water. Excess soil can be unshaken from root systems, but leave enough soil to keep roots and feel moisture levels. Number 6, please mark sample packages with warning if samples are as thorns or spines, right? All samples must be accompanied with completed sample submission form, right? In which I'll show you in a second, right? Give complete information in the form and keep the form separate from the sample, right? Note recent pesticide history on the submission form. There's an area on the submission form that you say if you have used any pesticide, right? All right. So that's basically it, right? As we go along, as right here now, this is where the permit. This is the permit section now. This is the permit for the sample that you are submitting. So of course you need a permit to submit the sample. So it cover all of that. So this is basically the permit to that will allow your sample to basically pass through, right? So that's basically it. So I showed you the permit, and I showed you how much it costs, and the submission form, which is important. this part here says AFIS red and white label. So they'll send you when you email that I told you about. Um, they'll basically email you a red and white label, and the label will have a number on it, and the number is where you'll put right here. And the AFIS stands for Animal and Plant Health Inspection Services, right? That's what it represents. Now, let us look at another document, right? Um, so those are the forms that you get, right? Those are the forms that you get. So after I got those forms, I basically asked some questions, right? And um, this is the person, Dr. Arman is the one that is in charge of the lab, right? This is her information here. And I asked question, and this is what the response was. Uh, we don't need roots to test for a virus, so you can just cut 15 to 20 centimeter of the growing tip that shows the weird distortion and stunting. So if the plants are much smaller and the plants in the images you send than the plants in the images you send, then send the whole plant. So if these plants are small, then you can send the whole plant. We prefer soil be washed off, roots before shipping. Uh, for our best chance of testable plant tissue getting to us, please package each sample in dry paper, then in its own plastic bag. Then put all samples in one box for shipping to us. Please don't forget the copy of my permit, sample submission form, and shipping label to get the sample from the Port of Inspection office in Miami to my lab in Gainesville. So I showed you the submission form, right? The one that you put on all the information on, and I showed you the permit, right? Now let me show you. This is basically the AFIS label, right? Which is Animal and Plant Health Inspection uh, Services, right? Or service, as it is written there. So this is the red and white label that they are talking about, and this is the label number that you'll basically put right here, right? If it's red and white label number, right? So in terms of sending the plant now, in terms of what I did, right, which worked, and let me just show you confirmation that it worked, right? This is basically a reply from the university, telling me that they have received. So I just please put the information here. So this is the sample receipt. As you can see, University of Florida sample receipt specimen that. As you can see right here, it says received by lab July 2nd, 2021. This is my information here. The submitter, I submitted it. The plant cucumber by FedEx, I sent it by FedEx. My phone number would be here, but I blocked out my phone number here. County out of country, it's an international sample. Plant material, vines and leaves, right? And this is the farmer that I submitted it for, Ian Harrison, and he runs Island Fresh Produce Limited on the island, right? So this is the confirmation, right? Now, let us talk about the process. So what I did was I basically cut the sample. It's 15 to 20 centimeter of the growing tip. So at the growing point of a plant, just start from the growing point of a plant and count 15 to 20 centimeter down, right? And you cut that. And what I did was I wrapped mine in brown paper bag. You know when you go to the supermarket and you get those brown paper bags, right? That was what I wrapped my samples in. I collected 4 samples and I wrapped them in the brown paper bag separately. So each sample got wrapped in a separate brown paper bag. And then after I wrapped it in a brown paper bag, I put it in a Ziploc bag, right? And then after I put it in a plastic Ziploc bag, I put that plastic Ziploc bag in another Ziploc bag, plastic Ziploc bag. So in all, I had two Ziploc bags protecting the sample, right? So remember, you wrap it in the paper bag first, and then put it in the two into the two Ziploc plastic bag, right? Now, after I did that, what you have to do next is, let us go back to this form, right? Let us look at this instruction. They say complete the submission and payment forms in this document and include them inside the package, right? Include them inside the package in a separate plastic bag, right? So they don't mix with the plant tissue, right? So I did not actually put my forms in a plastic bag. I just put the plant samples in a plastic bag and I put the forms on top of those bags. I didn't actually put it in a plastic bag, but you can do it just to basically protect the paper, right? Um, Also complete and enclose a second courier form, right? And enclose our permit to get the sample from customs to the lab. So they give you a specific order to place the document. So place the courier form on top of the whole stock, followed by the permit, then the submission form to expedite the customs inspection. So this is the part now where it might get complicated to you. So what happened is, in sending the sample, it basically it has to leave. So let us use the country that I'm in, Turks and Caicos Islands. So it has to leave Turks and Caicos Islands to this address, Miami Inspection Station, right? It have to leave Turks and Caicos to Miami Inspection Station, and then from Miami Inspection Station to this address, Dr. Carey Lapierre Armand. That address, it has to go leave from the Miami Inspection Station to this address, right? So what this document is saying is, when you put your sample in the box, or if you are using a FedEx box, and if you watch my previous video, you would have seen the video about how I sent it. You would have seen that I put mine in a FedEx box because the FedEx box was large enough to put it in. So I put the sample that I wrapped and so on and put in the bag. After, what I did was I put here they say place the courier form on top of the whole stock. So the courier form is the form that you basically fill out the international airway bill. I think that is what it is called. That you get at FedEx to fill out to send the sample. But guess what? That was another issue there. When you are to send the sample to this lab in Florida, you I could not use the forms that are at FedEx. I basically had to create an account, a FedEx account, right? And then I could have generated the forms, the necessary forms to send it from here, from Turks and Caicos to Miami, and then from within Miami to the lab. So so it's like if I had done use the papers that they're giving me at FedEx, I'd have only been able to submit the form from Turks and Caicos to Miami, because our FedEx in Turks and Caicos, based on what the representative at FedEx told me, our FedEx in Turks and Caicos only has jurisdiction um for basically sending the package from here to Miami. Once it reaches Miami, this FedEx here does not have jurisdiction over where it goes from the inspection station. So what I had to do was to create an account, right? Create an account and then fill out the necessary information, right? on their website, right? And then it basically went through that way, right? I could not have filled out two airway bill because here I needed one international airway bill or form to basically send the sample from Turks and Caicos to Miami inspection station. I need to fill out another one from Miami inspection station to the lab, right? Um, so so that is why they say right here. They said um, one for the complete two shipping forms. That is what they say here. Complete two shipping forms. One for the outside of the package from you to customs ag inspection station, and then one inside the package from inspection station to the lab, right? So so what I did was after I fill out the first one, I created the account. The farmer created the account. It was on this was the farmer's account. Created the account, and we developed the farm from Turks and Caicos to Miami, and that one basically goes outside the package with the red and white label, so the AFIS label. So right here, there's a print red and white label in color and affix it to the outside of the package. Do not obscure the courier form and the red and white label. And the courier form is the form that you develop to send the package, right? So those two labels goes outside of the box, right? The red and white label and the farm sending it from Turks and Caicos to Miami, right? And then now there's the next one now that will send it from the inspection station in Miami to the university lab, right? And that one basically goes inside the box. So up here, um, they give you instruction on how to place the documents inside the box. So they say place the courier form on top of the whole stock. So the courier form that they are talking is the form that you fill out from that sends the sample from Miami inspection station to the lab, to the university lab. So that one will basically go on top of the plant sample first. So you put in that form first, right? And then after that, it says followed by the permit. So the permit, remember the permit I showed you earlier? That permit goes on top of the shipping form, right? So the shipping form, then the permit, and then let us see what else. Where is it? And then the submission form, right? So the submission form is the form that I explained to you that you put all information on, as to the plant, what is affecting the plant, how the plant looks, your information, your credit card information, and so on. So so basically the courier form first, right? Or the shipping form, right? Then the permit, then the submission form. So you're basically going to have three forms inside the box, right? So again, the shipping form, the permit, and then the submission form. So that is the order that you put them in and put it inside the box. And as I said, outside the box, you'll have the shipping form that ships it from Turks and Caicos Islands or whichever country you're in to to Miami inspection station. That one would go outside the box along with the red and white AFIS label, right? And please remember to ensure that they are visible. They are not being blocked by each other or anything like that, right? So um yeah, and basically, and then you send off your information, your sample. So what will happen is that as soon as the and then when you develop those forms on FedEx, the shipping forms on FedEx, on your FedEx account, you basically will get your tracking number. So what they say is that at number 6, they say email us the day you ship the sample with the tracking numbers from the courier forms, right? This way we can keep an eye on the sample package and track it down if it stalls somewhere. So as soon as you send off a sample and you have the tracking number, you send them the tracking number, right? And remember, it's two tracking number. the tracking number from the Turks and Caicos Islands, or wherever you are, Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, Grenada, wherever in the Caribbean, or wherever in the world you are outside of the US, right? Where Federal Express is, right? You basically have two tracking number, the one from wherever you are to Miami Inspection Station, and then the tracking number from Miami Inspection Station to the university lab in Gainesville, Florida, right? So and then as I said, you know, uh let me show you my another document that states my that states that they receive it. So this is obviously the receipt, right? Here is the note that I got. It came with this um receipt information. And what they are saying is that we receive your sample today and have logged it into our system to begin the diagnostics process. Please check the fields at the top of this report to confirm the sample information is correct. So after you check that, the information above is correct, you are going to email them and let them know that the information is correct. They say you may reply to this email with any corrections, images, or additional information. Please make sure to include the sample number in the subject line, right? Yeah, and this is just the confirmation, just to show you that they basically received it, right? So this is basically what they'll send you to when they receive the sample. But here we cannot give sample results over the phone. Please call for pending results only if it has been more than 7 days since you receive your sample receipt, right? So what they are saying, if it goes over 7 days, they basically need 7 days rather to basically process the sample, do the testing, and so on, right? So after 7 days, you can basically call them, right? You can basically call them, and then I'm presuming that they'll basically send you the information um via email, right? Right. So yeah, that's basically. But I'll update you when I get the result and how they send it and so on. So that's basically the process, right? That's basically the process, and yeah, I mean this is very obviously very important because say for example, in the Turks and Caicos Islands here, there's no plant diagnostic center or testing lab to test plant tissues, so it is good to basically establish a a connection then, or what I would say, establish some kind of relationship, right? A relationship with a lab close by, and the closest place, Florida, is very close to here. As I said, Jamaica's Borders Research Station, I have never really, I've been calling them, right? I've never really sent any sample to them before, but I've been calling them. This during the same time I was searching for this for a lab. I was calling them, not getting through. I tried to get numbers for them. I wasn't getting any numbers. So I'm not sure if they do international plant sampling, but nevertheless, I know that University of Florida does it, and you can make use of this as well. As a farmer, you can basically just follow the instruction or reach out to me. You can reach out to me if you need guidance on how to submit the sample, right? And I think this is very good for the Turks and Caicos Islands, uh, because this is something that I have done for a farmer, and I'm basically going to share it with other farmers as well. So, yeah, if you have any questions, any comments, please put them in the comments area. Um, and the video is very long, as you can see, but it makes sense to watch it, because if you are a farmer, if you are doing crop production with a outdoor or greenhouse, at some point you'll maybe have to deal with disease issues, and some of us might be treating and it not going away, and you just want to find out exactly what it is. So it is good to basically have somewhere where you can submit your plant sample. And as I said, it's basically 200 US per sample. And right, so uh just utilize that. So anyway, as I said earlier, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, please like the videos. That does, that will allow, YouTube to basically show the video to more people. As we know, we want to share the information, so just like the video. um you know and basically help us to share the information. So bye bye.